attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and before you click off the video, this is the Ultra Instinct Deku. But I just wanted to talk about a bit of a project that somebody on my Discord is working on. Now, I believe a couple months back, they contacted me and started telling me about this idea they had. They themselves were not very confident in it. However, through their hard work and determination, they have come up with this project that is Project Savannah. Now, for those of you who will be interested in it, there is going to be a link in this video below. Along with that, there is a link over on my community tab. Now, with that being said, the link goes to a YouTube video, basically talking more about the project and going into detail about it. Basically, it's going to be like a comic book series, but they are also interested in adapting it into video games. Now, with that being said, if you guys are interested in more information, please click the link below in the description. And with that being said, let us begin with the what if. Okay, that did not take very long. Alright, now, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and I'm aware that was a strange intro, but skipping over that, this is going to be my 6K special. Now, I am hosting this currently 80 subscribers short of 6K, and I am aware. But this series is something personally I really want to take a shot at. So, I'm just a bit too excited. I'm also finally getting out of my burnout, which has worked wonders. But anyways, let us get started. Now, let us begin with Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya is born, and both of his parents, they are actually very, very strong heroes. Now, both of his parents do have strange abilities. His father, he has a slight tweak. Now, he seems to have the ability to use ki energy and/or life energy. And his quirk is actually somewhat of a slightly faster reflex than a normal human. However, throwing ki energy into the mix, that is increased dramatically. And his mother. She is quirkless, and is adept at ki energy herself. Now, the world of My Hero Academia, there are actually some heroes who can harness and master life energy, or ki as it is called. They are able to use their life force and weaponize it. The very energy that is inside their body, they are able to use. Now, eventually one day, they did settle down and get married. They were fairly certain that their baby might be pretty strong. Now, one day Izuku Midoriya is born. And whenever he was born, he was somewhat different already. He was born from two fighters, so already enough, he was stronger than a normal child, or a normal baby. Whereas, let's say at least, Hisashi and Inko's power levels, if I had to scale them, let's say they would at least be somewhere around the, I would say 300, but that's planetary level. If I cut that down in half, that's already at least like half a continent or half the planet. So let's at least say they're around 300. However, they are only aware of the attacking, flying, and other certain things. They have not created specialized techniques to blast energy. Certainly they can try, but with the fact that how destructive it is, it's not really used very well. It's only used very well whenever they are trying to train. They can only use small ki blast. Now, let's say that Izuku's power level, already enough, is somewhere around 50 to 75. Now, with that being said, Izuku is already quite a very strong child. And as he begins to grow and get older, that simply just began to increase. Now, Izuku, he found himself strange. Whenever he was around the age of 2, or at least able to walk, his parents decided to start teaching him how to use ki. Since, for some odd reason, he punched a hole in a wall by complete accident. This was strange. And Midoriya, he began to learn whenever he was around the age of 4, and actually in school. This is whenever he at least began to understand better his abilities. They're strange and they're odd. So, this must really be what it's like with power. His parents are both like this, and so is he. Now, today is kind of weird. Bakugo has just unlocked his quirk. And Midoriya, he's excited for him. Bakugo going on to talk about how his quirk makes him the strongest. And Izuku just tells Bakugo that that's not necessarily true. Just because he has a very strong quirk doesn't mean that he's the strongest. Now, Bakugo, yeah, he doesn't really care. Over the next few weeks, he begins to develop his personality. Or, default asshole, as you can call it. Now, within this time frame, as Bakugo eventually gets to his cocky persona, we do have the day that he ends up falling off of a log while using his quirk. As soon as it happened, this is a series of events. Bakugo slipped and fell off, and he was heading straight for the water. Midoriya, he saw that, immediately somewhat springing into action. His body reacted on its own. As soon as he had the idea to move, he already found he did. As he's just flying in midair, holding Bakugo. What the hell? Izuku, what is this? Huh? I I don't know. Uh, could you put me down? Sure, but how did I get here? What do you mean? I was going to move and, well, I'm here. Yeah. I don't know. But thanks? Sure. Midoriya setting Bakugo down. Meanwhile, you do have Inko and Asashi. For a brief second, both of them felt that, right? That overwhelming power. It felt like I don't even think we felt it. It's strange. I could have swore that was Izuku. but it just jumped. Okay, this is going to be very weird. Hasashi and Inko do actually decide to go check that out, eventually arriving in the forest and finding Izuku, who quite simply just turns around and sees his parents. Mom, Dad, what are you guys doing here? We felt something strange. Yes, Izuku, did you do that earlier? Well, I sort of used my energy earlier, but I don't know what happened. I was just floating there 1 second holding Bakugo. That's strange. Okay, well, I don't know. Do you really think that he could? I'm not too sure. But it wouldn't be too afraid. It wouldn't be too bad to really ask them, would it? Well, I don't think so, but even then, you know what they said? Well, Inko, if it really is his quirk, then what do you think we should do about it? Well, you're right. Now, with that, they took him to the quirk doctor, and did at least begin to try and test Izuku's powers. They can find that Midoriya has some similar powers to his mother and his father. In fact, it's quite peculiar. They're not too sure if it's a genetic trait or if it may be recessive from one of their mothers or one of their fathers. But it seems like he has. I'm not too sure what to call this. Huh. Alright, well, I guess I can just leave it alone then. It doesn't seem to be affecting anything bad. Now, with that, Midoriya simply does get his quirk written down. The alias of his mother's and his father's, somewhere of a mix in between. Now, after that, Hasashi does actually begin to try and determine what Izuku can do. As today, both of them are actually somewhat at least working on some light sparring. Izuku has just been taught how to bring his hands up and how to hold his body. And it's actually quite interesting. As soon as Izuku was put in that pose, Hasashi at least began to instruct him on how to move. This is how he's doing that. This is how he's doing that. Now, along with throwing some basic kicks throughout the air, he began to instruct Izuku on how to do this, before both of them actually engage in somewhat of hand-to-hand combat. Both of them going at a relatively good speed. Now, along with that, Inko was actually paying attention and watching. Before Midoriya's energy somewhat became strange, and his hair began to raise up. As soon as that did happen, this is whenever Midoriya, he just did one thing. He was able to punch his father. As soon as he punched his dad, his fist met directly with his, breaking his dad's hand and shattering his arm. Hasashi someone just pulling away backwards and screaming out in pain. And then there's Midoriya, who is feeling this odd sensation. Huh? What is this? Is this my quirk? Inko running over and trying to see if Hasashi is alright. And then you do have Midoriya, still staring at his hands. Before he does look up to see his dad, who is hurt. Dad, he says before he starts running over. Now, Izuku being 10 steps away, he took one, before he's suddenly just in front of both of them. And a powerful gust of wind just blows past everyone. and Ko looking up surprised. That was faster than her eyes could track. What the? Izuku, is this your power? This doesn't make sense. It's strange. His ki is different. I can barely sense him. What is this? Now, with that, Izuku, he's still kind of confused. And he starts to ask his dad if he'll be alright. To which, he basically says yes. He's just going to need to go get a cast or something, and at least get it reset. Now, this is whenever his dad does actually go to a hospital and see a doctor, getting a cast put on and at least having it looked at. Whatever he hit or punched, it must have been pretty strong or durable, especially for the damage that it did. Now, luckily he's actually able to run into a doctor with somewhat of a healing ability, and it's able to at least speed up the process a little bit. His arm won't be shattered, but the bones inside of it are going to need some time to actually mend back together. He was able to fix some of it, but the healing, or at least the rest of it, should have taken at least a third of the time the original process would have. And Izuku is actually somewhat kept on a close eye. Inko is intrigued to learn more about what her son just did. This strange thing. As soon as he basically went to attack, he hurt Hisashi. And whatever he did, clearly it was shown to be powerful. So, I'm just wondering, what are the depths of his power? He basically disappeared as soon as he started doing that. The silver eyes and the hair. The energy coming off of his body. Wait, now that I think about it, it felt hot. This doesn't make any sense. What is going on with her baby boy? Now, with that being said, Inko, she does actually begin to at least try and help Izuku maintain his power, trying to train. Midoriya seems to be able to at least turn this on for a short period of time. And it's all at least somewhat good. He's able to use it whenever he's able to calm down and empty his mind. One day, Midoriya just started meditating. As soon as he did, this is whenever that glow at least began to start forming around him again. And Midoriya was able to open his eyes. Now, Midoriya did at least somewhat understand that this is his power. So, as Midoriya began to at least try moving his body around. Now, while Midoriya is doing this, he's actually a bit more interested in it. Whenever he's moving his body, he's able to see the after image of his hands that are moving so fast. But for him, they just look like they're just staying still. This doesn't make any sense. Now, Midoriya is able to keep this on for a little bit of time. However, eventually, it does drain his stamina, and he is very tired. Now, he simply begins to continue on with his parents' teachings. They thought that he was too young to start fighting at least, so they wanted to teach him how to do this. And Midoriya, he was actually very curious about it. He's writing something down in his notebook. He is still at the age of 4 years old, and he's on his way to school. Now, Midoriya is simply just not paying attention, somewhat beginning to at least mutter to himself a little bit. He's trying to think about different things. and he walks into the street. As soon as he does, a large semi-truck or an 18-wheeler is barreling down the road. As soon as it honked its horn, it got Midoriya's attention. And Midoriya, he immediately looked up from his notebook. As soon as he did, he actually just did one single thing. He dropped it and he screamed as he brought his hands up. As soon as he did that, he just did one thing. He pushed out with as much force in his hands as possible, trying to at least block the truck. However, the semi-truck hit him dead on, as he activated the attacking half of Ultra Instinct. Now, the semi-truck was split directly into two down the middle, with the sheer force of Midoriya just pushing his hands out with all he's got. And the truck, both sides of it, simply just began to barrel in between Izuku, before smashing onto the sidewalk. Midoriya just left there with his hands up. However, whenever he opened his hands, instead of him having a flat palm, both of his palms were formed into karate chop motions. And this was actually somewhat curious. Izuku is someone just standing there and looking behind him, trying to figure this out, looking back down at his hands. What the hell? This doesn't make any sense. Many different people running over. One of the men, or at least people around, checking to see if Izuku is alright. Meanwhile, pro heroes do arrive. And they're able to take some footage from a security camera and look at it. As soon as the semi-truck, basically tried to slam on its brakes, Izuku threw his hands out. As soon as his hands were thrown out, the truck was split into two, and both sides of it moved out of his way. It's as if some magical force split the truck into two. Now, this was quite insane, and Izuku did get to school. However, this strange ability, whatever it is, he's beginning to learn more about it, understand it. However, it's still just that. He needs to learn more about his quirk if he's going to use it properly. But that was scary. I can't believe I did that to the truck. Izuku, unaware, or aware of what he saw in the footage, while everyone else is completely oblivious. People may not have seen it, but Midoriya, he did one simple thing. He brought his hands outwards and slammed his hands together. As soon as he slammed his hands together, he just simply brought them back outwards, and was able to push the truck into two pieces, pulling it apart effortlessly. Before, time basically resumed, and he was standing there with his hands up like that. It made no sense, but it was just weird. I didn't know I could move that fast. Now, with that being said, I do believe that this is a good point to leave off with this part. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. Now,